Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. All the pertinent data will be down in the description below this video. There's going to be a lot of information. There's an article that we found through research. U.S. military's newest weapon against China and Russia are hot air balloons or helium-filled balloons. As we can see from what has taken place with the most recent intrusion into our airspace, a foreign balloon made by China. They have bigger balls, bigger balloons than we do. That's what they wanted to show us, that they had bigger balloons than we did. Absolutely. This video today focuses in on that, focuses in on the factor of who to put blame on when it comes to these cybersecurity issues. It is the American National Standards Institute, located both in New York and Washington, D.C. Was ANSI used to take critical proprietary secrets from American companies? In this article that came out about U.S. military's newest weapons against China and Russia are hot air balloons, it states this. Now, these balloons that we've been developing for many years, not just yesterday, not just a year ago, it's been on the platform for many decades. This is over the past 2 years, the Pentagon has spent $3.8 million on balloon projects and plans to spend $27 million in fiscal year 2023 to continue work on multiple efforts according to budget documents. But as we've seen, China's got bigger balloons than we do. Okay. One of the reasons why I feel that they have not shot down that balloon is that it is powered by some sort of nuclear motor. That's my personal assessment, because to have a foreign entity that's known that wants to see the United States fall, and just as a country fall, we have Christopher Wray from the FBI, the director of the FBI, upon Senate subcommittee or congressional hearing on November 15, 2022, he stated that China and TikTok are a detriment to American way of life. And his own organization, the FBI, was watched over and controlled over by Communist China between 2015 and 21. So we call him Chris Wray the Clown. We have in Connecticut, and I have to tell you this, we have Rosa DeLauro, we have Jim Himes, Christopher Murphy, and Richard Blumenthal, who in 2015, I know it's 8 years ago, but you gotta listen to this. They praised Lockheed Martin for working with Communist China on the purchase of Sikorsky aircraft. And in that document, you can find it, it says, with China's okay, Lockheed Martin closes in on the purchase of Sikorsky aircraft. And in that document, it states, Connecticut lawmakers praise Lockheed Martin for working with an international regulator, and who it is Communist China. So our own political leaders are selling us down the river. You have Joe Biden and his son working with Communist China in Ukraine. And then they go out and smile and say, one of Joe Biden's mission statements when he was running for office is, China will eat your lunch, eat our lunch. Well, what do you want? They're already taking pictures of us. Isn't that nice and tender? So let's get into this right now. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, has been around for 104 years. In 2019, I exposed an impropriety about a laboratory accreditation. And it's on my videos, you can find it, I'm not going to go through it again, but you have a chairman, a Russ Cheney, who called me up and left me a voicemail saying, half a nut, fuck you. Yes, I know for some of you who are looking at this saying, I can't believe a guy would do that. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to play this for you. I want you to listen to it because I think it's very important. And this is what Russ Cheney said on my phone. Yes, he did say that. To make matters worse, in 2022, of June of 2022, I saw an opening for a director at large on ANSI's board. And guess what? I applied for it, 54-page document. They never received anything like this. I am sure I had 16 letters of recommendation from my customers, many of them telling about the improprieties of ANSI and ANAB, because I have to be honest with my customers. I have to tell them, you're getting involved with ANSI-ANAB, who I was invited to join. I was invited to join in 2016. 2013, 10 years ago, when Mr. Dave Levy came to a speech I gave at the American Society for Quality, whereby you have the American Society for Quality, you have the American National Standards Institute owning the accreditation body of ANAB, the American National Crediting Board, 50-50. Dave Levy said, Daryl, we have no problem with what you're doing, Mr. Guberman. In fact, ANAB supports you. He didn't push that up the ladder. For many years, after that, up till 2016, when Randy Dodry, you'll see, the vice president, at the time he was the technical advisor, when he invited me. Okay, he was a technical advisor of the American National Crediting Board, and he was also at that time the principal on the International Accreditation Forum Incorporated in Delaware. He invited us to join. Open arms. You can join ANAB or IAF. It's all voluntary. They say voluntary, but they're full of baloney. We didn't want to do that because you're going to see why we wouldn't. We're proud Americans, and this is why ANSI is a conduit. I love that word, a conduit for communist China. Okay, and you can't make this up. In fact, we have a picture of Joe Bathia handing over American technology right here to this Chinese individual. Okay, and what Nikita Khrushchev said in communist Russia, he said that, well, I'll add this, ANSI-ANAB peddling the hemp to make the rope with which to hang the business owners and American society. Yes, and here it is. Take a good look at that, business owners. In fact, he said this, Joe Bathia said this in March of 23rd, 2016. He said, would you really want to have your competitor dictate the future of how you do business? And that competitor could be somebody not just from the US, but somebody from China, somebody from Europe, somebody from another part of the world. At that time, he was sitting between 2015 and 2021. They were sitting on the IEF, controlled by communist China. Controlled and influenced by communist China. In fact, it is absolutely abominable when you look at all this mess. And I've showed it to you on other videos about the whole China, here it is, as a matter of fact. I don't lie about this. This is both ANSI and ANAB. And by the way, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. Okay, and this is then between 2015 and 2021, being controlled and manipulated by China. And you listen to Joe Bathia, listen to what he says. He said, would you really want to have your competitor dictate the future of how you do business? And that competitor could be somebody not just from the US, but somebody from China. And here he is, shaking hands and giving our technology. Do you see the guy wincing? That's supposed to represent United States of America. So let's continue on. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation with federal agencies and corporations on board. You have Randy Dodry. At the time of this picture, he was the vice president of ANAB, the chairman of the International Accreditation Forum in Delaware. He was also the principal on the IAF tax report. He handed over leadership of the IAF, incorporated in Delaware, to this communist Chinese national who's been involved with our quality since 1994, Zhao Jinwu. Zhao Jinwu at the time is also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, China. I get Beijing and Peking mixed up. Nevertheless, it's Beijing, China. And he is mandated by his country of origin, communist China, to take your data through the China the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7, which mandates espionage. In 2017, Randy Dodry was being advertised as a private citizen on the Department of Homeland Security website. Yes, a government entity giving praise to a a private concern, which is basically, from what I've discovered, it's against the law. You cannot have your business being advertised on any government agency's website. Well, he was. Why? Because there's a gentleman, Phil Maston, who's a director manager of standards for the Department of Homeland Security, getting $262,000 royalty payments sitting on ANSI's board, plus his salary. The royalty payment, for those of you who are out there, the tax-paying citizens and business owners, a royalty payment is basically non-taxable. They have not, I've been saying that for a couple of years now, and nobody has stopped me. Yes, non-taxable. The IRS has no bearing on what a royalty payment is. So Phil Masterson, $262,000. During that time, this guy, Zhao Jinwu, has been involved with our quality since 1994, nevertheless. He was seen in Wuhan, China, in the BioLevel 4 lab, handing over a ISO 17025 certification for laboratory accreditation. You have a woman, and Miss Pamela Sale, who under deposition stated in all these laboratories there are variances and they lack protocol. They do not have protocol. They skip processes, it appears, because that's why the virus escaped. Also, ANSI and ANAB, the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board, are underwriters for the International Accreditation Forum. So when that virus escaped that laboratory, the liability falls on those two organizations. They're American-based. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. You have federal agencies and corporations on board. And now here goes the brass tacks of this balloon. Why they, the Chinese, got it is because you have the Pentagon, okay? You have the Pentagon and Department of Defense sitting on ANSI's board with cybersecurity issues being watched over by communist China since 2015 to 21. The Chinese gentleman, Mr. Zhao Jinwu, has been involved with our quality since 1994. So when we look up into the sky in Montana and you see Chinese balls up there, balloons, sorry, I apologize. Those are big balloons they've got. They've got big balls. And you know who's got small ones? They do, because they've already been hacked, and they've been hacked bad. Our country is in despair because of the American National Standards Institute. I would stand up in any place other than a court because the courts are tainted. Because guess what? The American Bar Association and ANSI harmoniously work together. So as I got a letter from an attorney from 40 years, and he said both state and federal courtrooms are no more than smoke and mirrors. It's a scam. The judge is put in that office right there with his skirt on. Was it a skirt? I don't know. Skirt, cloak, smock, whatever that black robe is. I wonder if... You think they wear any underwear? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I'll say this. The judge is the CEO. You have the plaintiff and defendant's attorney. They are his workers. So that's why you have stays, that's why you have postponements, you have all this stuff, so that he can build the finances of those two individuals. That's why. So you never in the courtroom. I would definitely go down on a Senate subcommittee floor and let them know, or even congressional hearing, except the only problem is all of these congressmen and senators are getting bought off by Lockheed Martin. I have it's called Lockheed disbursements, where in all 50 states, they pay off both Democrats and Republicans. Lockheed Martin, during the time, got hacked by China in 2009. There it goes. And they sat on the IAF. IAF between 2015 and 21, there's Lockheed Martin sitting on that board with Pakistan and Iran, who admitted to harboring some of the terrorists of 9/11. You have Pakistan, who harbored Osama bin Laden. And here's Lockheed sitting there. Well, they figured that they could fire some more missiles, if they need to be, into Iran or Pakistan. And I don't say this about the people of those poor countries. I say this about the leaders. Just like here, we do not have leaders here. Okay? They're all getting paid off by these corporations. And when they come around election time, they all beg for our votes, which are probably tainted because, as we've seen in other elections, a lot of them are being fixed, without a doubt. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS@yahoo.com. And this video is about, was ANSI used to take critical proprietary secrets from American companies? Yes, when you have federal agencies and corporations on board, an organization like that. And they sit on an organization that was controlled and manipulated by communist China from 2015 to 2021, and you have all this stuff. I have information about all our federal agencies getting their data taken, not by Russia, by China. Please contact me. I'll show it to you. I've got it all. I think I have more information than the FBI. And the reason why we do this is very simple. And I say this again. Thomas Paine said, and I'm telling you, when speaking the truth, it's many times like administering medication to the dead. And this is true. Unbelievable. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, when you look up in the sky in Montana and you see the big balls that China has, the big balloon that China has, shake your head, because they may be testing our airspace. If they can fly a balloon in, what else can they fly in?